Have you ever heard of Babe Ruth? Maybe you'd recognize the names, the Great Bambino, the Sultan of the Swamp, or the Big Bam. Even if you know the slightest bit about baseball, you've probably heard these names. They may seem odd at first, but after hearing of his accomplishments, you'll understand. I found interest in Babe Ruth because he did such unheard of things at his time over and over again. Babe Ruth is a baseball icon and legend. Babe Ruth will be remembered forever. Babe Ruth's life, for three main reasons. Babe Ruth's life was almost ordinary. Babe Ruth had outstanding statistics, and Babe Ruth changed the game of baseball. Every person has their own story based on their life, but Babe Ruth was special, which leads me to my first point. Babe Ruth's life was almost ordinary. According to Livestrong.com, in the article, How Did Babe Ruth Change Baseball?, written by Gina Knutson in 2011, stated that George Herman Ruth was born on February 6, 1895. Growing up, he got into lots of trouble, and his parents sent him to the St. Mary's Industrial School, where he was introduced to the game of baseball, and he played many positions such as catcher, pitcher, and outfielder. At the age of 18, he started playing amateur baseball in semi-pro teams. In the 1914, he signed with the Baltimore Orioles before he was then playing for the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees in 1918. The 2015 article Babe Ruth, published on biography.com, said that Babe Ruth led the Red Sox to 3 championships. But after they were faced with financial hardships, he was sold to the New York Yankees, where he then helped them to 4 World Series championships. He played baseball one last time in 1935 with the Atlanta Braves. But after his life filled with food, alcohol, and women, it came back to haunt him. He was diagnosed with cancer, and on August 16, 1948, he passed away. He gave most of his estate to the Babe Ruth Foundation, which served underprivileged kids. So as my first main point demonstrates, Babe Ruth's life was almost ordinary. During his life, he was blessed with an incredible amount of talent, which leads me to my second point. Babe Ruth had outstanding statistics. On Bleacher Report, the article Major League Baseball, The Case for Babe Ruth's Best Ever, written by Jim Flannery in 2013, stated that his career batting average was .342, which is the 10th best of all time. His OPS was 1.164, which tops the charts. He had a whopping 2,213 RBIs, which is the second most of all time. He stole 123 bases in his career, and he held the record for the most consecutive innings pitched in a World Series without having anybody score at 19.7. His pitching record clocked in at 94-46. In the 6th edition of the Columbia Electronic Encyclopedia, written in 2013, it considered Babe Ruth the slugger for his home run hitting ability. He tied the record in 1918 and 1931 for the most home runs hit. He led the record in 1919 to 1921, 1923 to 1924, 1926 to 1931. He had a whopping 60 home runs in a 154-game season in 1927, and this record was held for 34 years. In his career, he hit 714 balls over the fence, and that record was held until 1974 when it was broke. It is still the 3rd most in MLB history. So as my second main point demonstrates, Babe Ruth had outstanding statistics. Not only did his statistics make him stand out, but he changed the game of baseball, which leads me to my third point. Babe Ruth changed the baseball era. In Babe Ruth Central, a 2013 article, Babe Ruth's Impact on the Game of Baseball, said that baseball in the early 20th century was completely different than what it was now. It used to be played by strategically placing balls to score runs, but Babe Ruth changed that. He changed the dead ball era in 1918 to the live ball era in 1921. He did this by changing the hitting style. It also helped that the MLB made a rule in 1920 that said that new balls had to be used frequently throughout the game and that the spitball pitch was illegal. In 2013, Mary Seelhorst published the article Babe Ruth in the magazine Popular Mechanics that said that his swing contributed to the change in era. Babe Ruth stated, "You've got to develop rhythm and use full utility of every muscle. My whole body goes with every swing. I swing right from the hips." Babe Ruth used the heaviest bat in his league, and with his great success, this became a trick of trade. He introduced the open stance, which we still use today. So as my third main point demonstrates, Babe Ruth changed the baseball era. So let's review why Babe Ruth will be remembered forever. Babe Ruth made a lasting impact on the game of baseball. For his accomplishments, he was the second person inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame in 1936. He went from a troubled boy to a legend, and he still holds records for over 75 years. Without Babe Ruth, baseball would be completely different. Babe Ruth will be remembered for forever. Babe Ruth's life was almost ordinary. Babe Ruth had outstanding statistics, and Babe Ruth changed the baseball era.